Discover 12 incredible secrets about your senses that will transform your sleep forever. Lily felt the weight of the world pressing down on her. Just that morning, she had served a pancake breakfast to families who didn't know the grind she faced daily. The laughter of children echoed around her, reminding her of the joy she wished to reclaim. As she wiped down the counter at Maplewood Diner, exhaustion tugged at her like a relentless fog. Bills piled higher than the pancakes she flipped, and the whispers of judgment followed her wherever she went. Another single mother, they'd say, shaking their heads. It gnawed at her pride that evening, as leaves danced across her yard, a knock echoed through her small home, breaking the monotony of her fatigue. It was Jake, her childhood friend now a success in the wellness industry, his energy radiating like the warm orange of the autumn sunset. The laughter they once shared felt like a distant memory. "Lily!" he exclaimed, his enthusiasm infectious. "I've discovered incredible secrets about harnessing our senses for better sleep. Let me show you." Skepticism battled with curiosity inside her as he spoke, but there was a flicker of hope within. She pictured the ZZZs slipping away like grains of sand, desperately needed but seemingly out of reach. "I don't know, Jake," she hesitated. "What if it doesn't work? What will people think?" With a reassuring smile, he replied, "Sometimes, we need to let go of what others think and embrace what we deserve." What do you think your kids would feel if you were rested and whole? For her children, Sophie and Max, she would consider it. That night, she began her journey into sensory exploration, calming lavender oils, cozy blankets, and meditative sounds that triggered laughter and warmth within her home. With each step, each drop of oil and each breath taken, the tightness in her chest started to loosen. Yet, the shadows of doubt lurked. Could she truly allow herself the luxury of self-care? Before we continue, she thought of something urgent. "I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let us continue. The days pushed forward, and with them came the weight of her mother's critical gaze during a surprise visit. "Self-care? In my day, we just pushed through," her mother snapped. The words stung, igniting a fire within Lily. Heated exchanges led to bitter tears, yet, hidden among the hurts, were revelations. She understood then that generational expectations shaped their bonds, creating distance that hurt deeper than any word. Just as shadows tightened their grip, disaster struck. An unexpected financial crisis slammed into her world, the force of it almost knocking the breath from her lungs. But somehow, Lily steadied herself, clinging to her newfound understanding of self-worth and resilience. Would she continue to rise above the whispers? Standing at that crossroads, Lily whispered, "Am I enough?" The question hung heavy. It echoed in her heart, filling the space swirling around her. The autumn wind rustled outside, and the flickering candles within seemed to respond with a gentle, steadfast glow. Would she find the courage to seek what she truly deserved, battling not just her fatigue but the burden of judgment? The path ahead swirled with uncertainty, and with it, a promise of change. The morning sun slipped through the crooked blinds, casting streaks of light across Lily's living room. She stirred awake, the calming scents of lavender and chamomile still lingering from the night before. For the first time in weeks, her body felt somewhat rested, though the shadows of worry still danced at the edges of her mind. The sound of children's laughter broke the early silence, reminding her that Sophie and Max would be up soon, filled with energy, joy, and the pure zest for life that seemed so far removed from her OWN. As she washed her face at the sink, the cold water splashed her cheeks, a reminder of the clarity she desperately sought. Jake's words echoed back, calling her to embrace her worth and the importance of rest. Today, she promised herself, she would carry that spirit through the day, even if it felt like walking a tightrope over a chasm of uncertainty. Breakfast was a rhythmic chaos: syrup-laden pancakes, strawberries sliced like thick red confetti, and a dash of laughter from Sophie as she pretended to be a chef on a cooking show. Max, with his sticky fingers and eager grin, leaped around her, demanding stories she knew by heart. In those moments, despite her turmoil, light crackled within her, reminding her why she fought so hard to keep going. After breakfast, however, the outside world pressed in around her like walls. Bills lay in a dusty pile on the table, making her stomach twist. As she reached for the phone to call about the overdue rent, doubt flooded her thoughts. What if I fail? Echoed in her mind. But deep down, another voice countered, what if I finally succeed? With a firm breath, she chose to face the day with intent. She tucked the kids into their car seats and drove to the park. Fresh air whipped through the open windows. The laughter of children blended with the rustle of leaves overhead, a symphony of joy that lifted her heart. At the park, she watched Sophie and Max race across the grass, their innocence shining brighter than speech. Lily's heart swelled, and for a moment, she felt untouchable. Could self-care, even in its simplest form, truly change things? Jake's teachings had already begun to reframe the way she viewed herself. She had worth beyond the label she carried, but just as hope began to blossom, her phone buzzed, snapping her back to reality. A text from her mother, have you sorted out your finances? You can't ignore this any longer. The words hit hard, each syllable like a stone thrown into her serene lake. It reminded her of the expectations she desperately longed to escape yet never fully understood. As the shadows returned, yet again, Lily found herself at a crossroads. She had the chance to fight the depths of fatigue with self-love, or surrender to the weight of judgment. Would she rise above the shadows, or let them take control? As darkness loomed, a weight felt new, a flicker instead of despair. Maybe it's time I choose to be more than what others expect, she said softly, her heart pounding at the thought of defiance transforming into courage. But then a voice whispered from within, what if I only beginning to uncover who I can truly be? Feeling the tension build, she took a deep breath. Was she finally ready to chase not just sleep, but a fuller, richer existence? Would she allow herself to be more than just a survivor, but a thriver? As she gathered her children, the path ahead still felt uncertain, yet vivid with possibilities. The echoes of laughter faded into the gentle breeze as she stood poised on her new cliff of change, waiting to jump. What awaited her on the other side of that leap? Would she embrace her own voice at last, or retreat into old patterns of fear? Lily stood in the park, the sun warming her shoulders, casting away the lingering chill of doubt. Sophie and Max ran ahead, their laughter mingling with the rustling leaves, creating a melody of hope that made her heart flutter. She felt lighter, as if the worries that usually anchored her were slowly loosening their grip. For a moment, she watched the children. Sophie was twirling, her arms outstretched like a bird ready to take flight, while Max chased after her, his feet thumping against the grass with reckless excitement. Lily felt a tug in her chest, a desire to join in, to leave the fear and anxiety behind, if only for a moment. Hey, you two! She called, trying to match their infectious energy. What do you think about a family race? Their eyes lit up, and before she knew it, they were all lined up, giggles spilling out like water from a burst dam. On your marks, get set, go! She shouted, and they took off, laughter echoing behind them. The thrill surged through her as she ran, the fresh scent of the park enveloping her, reminding her that she was alive. Winning didn't matter, the race was about connection, about feeling free. As she crossed the imaginary finish line, her kids cheered, and she felt the first genuine smile break across her face in days. But just as the laughter reached its peak, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call from Jake. The sound froze her in place. It felt like a lifeline and a trap all at once. Hadn't she relished this moment of joy? Did she really want to pull herself back into the weight of her responsibilities, into the conversation they needed to have? Mom. Max tugged at her sleeve, pulling her back to the present. Sorry, buddy, she said, shaking off the intrusive thoughts. Just thinking. Can we play again? Sophie asked, her eyes sparkling. Of course, we can. Lily responded, sweeping them into a warm embrace. In that mini huddle, her heart swelled. Maybe this was what it looked like to embrace life instead of just surviving it. Maybe this was her small rebellion against the stress that weighed her down. As they sank into another round of game-filled chaos, dread still bubbled quietly inside of her. The call from Jake loomed like a storm cloud, threatening to downpour at any moment. She caught glimpses of how they navigated difficult conversations together. They didn't shy away from the rawness of life. Maybe he would help her find a way to be honest with herself. With a heavy sigh, she decided to answer the call. She pushed the button, the phone buzzing against her palm as she clasped it tightly. His voice came through, warm and familiar, yet scattered with concern. "Lily, are you okay?" For a fleeting moment, she considered deflection, masking her worries behind a smile. Mama always had to be okay, didn't she? But today felt different. Today, she felt brave. "Well, I'm at the park with the kids. She hesitated, searching for words that wouldn't betray the progress she hoped might take root. "I'm trying to figure things out. To make a change, you know? Maybe we can work through this together," Jake suggested gently. He understood her, a lighthouse guiding her through rough seas. This time, it could be different. She might just find the courage to rebuild. As they spoke, Lily found herself leaning in, encouraged by his belief in her. The breeze tousled her hair, exhilarating as she began to share her uncertainty. They would tackle the tough stuff together. It felt liberating. Could vulnerability truly birth strength, she wondered, with her heart pounding and hope flickering to life. She suddenly realized she could embrace everything, the struggles and victories alike. She had a choice. Maybe, just maybe, she was on the precipice of a significant change. But as the conversation hung in the air, the familiar shadow of doubt lingered. What if breaking open only led in more chaos? What awaited her life on the other side of this honesty? Would she find the strength to cast aside her fears, or would the depth of her desperation pull her back under? "Lily?" Jake's voice broke through her thoughts again, soft but persistent. "Are you still there?" "Yeah, I'm here," she replied, pulling herself back to the moment. The kids were frolicking just a few feet away, their joy a stark contrast to the gnawing uncertainty in her stomach. "I'm just thinking." "Thinking is good. Just don't think too much," he said, a hint of humor in his tone that made her smile. "Tell me what you want to change, and let us figure it out together." She inhaled deeply, steadying her racing heart. "I don't want to feel stuck anymore. I want to feel like I'm living, not just going through the motions. Let us start small. What's one thing you've always wanted to do? Just for yourself?" The question lingered like a puff of dandelion seeds. What did she want? For years, her days had centered around the kids, her responsibilities, and the constant stress of keeping everything in order. The thought of carving out time for herself felt selfish yet enticing. As she witnessed Sophie and Max share a spontaneous moment of joy, a thought nudged at her. "I used to love painting," she admitted, the words almost surprising her. "I don't even know why I stopped." "Then paint. Take a class, or just set up some canvases at home. You have to find that part of yourself again." It seemed so simple, yet the idea of taking time for herself brought a fluttering fear. Would she have the energy? What if life got in the way again? Panic lingered, hinting that she could easily lose her newfound courage. "Lily?" Jake's voice was soft but insistent. "What's holding you back? You're not alone in this, remember? But what if I'm not good enough anymore?" Her voice faltered. "Who cares about being good enough? It's about what makes you feel alive. And you are enough as you are. Just take the first step." As those words sank in, something shifted inside her. A tiny ember ignited a desire, a spark. Maybe it wouldn't just be about being a mother. Maybe there was more to her than just responsibility and worry. "I'll think about it," she found herself saying, the thought invigorating her. "Just think about it, huh?" Jake chuckled, but the warmth in his voice held her steady. "That's the start. Small steps, right?" "Yeah, small steps," she echoed, her heart dancing at the thought. She glanced at the kids again, their laughter wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. She thought of the bright colors, the flow of paint on the canvas, how it used to bring her pure joy. If she could harness just a slice of that freedom. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the park. Shadows lengthened, and as she looked at the horizon, a thought bubbled inside her. Wouldn't it be amazing to combine time with her kids and painting? She could create new memories, a beautiful mess on canvas. Okay, she said, emboldened by her revelation. I think I want to take a painting class. I'll look for one this week. Now that's what I'm talking about. Jake cheered, his voice brimming with support. Something in her swelled. Could she really embrace this change? Could she find joy in herself once more, without guilt? As the conversation dwindled, she felt buoyant, like she was finally rising above the water, the weight of her worries momentarily forgotten. But as she hung up the phone, the shroud of doubt crept back in. What if she didn't have the time? What if the kids didn't understand? The evening breeze whispered through the trees, as she watched Sophie drawing in the dirt with a stick, surrounded by nature's untamed beauty. Mom, Sophie called, her voice light. Come look at my masterpiece. Lily followed, her heart swelling with hope. Maybe this was exactly what she needed: acceptance, joy, connection. A moment before stepping into the unknown, but deep down, the swirling question remained: was she brave enough to embrace the chaos of life ahead? Would she truly be able to paint her own happiness while juggling everything she loved? The following days were a whirlwind of emotions and new beginnings. Lily found herself scrolling through local art classes, her heart racing at the prospect of dipping her brush into vibrant colors again. It was strange, this feeling of anticipation fluttering in her chest. Each class she considered felt like a door opening, inviting her to step beyond the familiar limitations she'd set for herself. Mommy, can I paint with you? Max interrupted her thoughts one evening as he peered over her shoulder. His big brown eyes sparkled with excitement. The moment melted her heart. Of course, buddy. You can help me pick the colors, she replied, grateful for this connection they could share. It felt as if her two worlds were beginning to merge, the responsibilities of motherhood and her blooming passions intertwining. They rummaged through the art supplies, paint splattering across the table like new ideas spilling into her life. Max giggled as he tried to squeeze an excessive amount of blue from a tube, painting abstract splotches everywhere. Lily watched him, eyes wide, the laughter bubbling from her heart. This was joy, this was life. Look, Mommy. It's a blue monster, he exclaimed, beaming with pride as he presented his creation. She couldn't help but laugh along. In that moment, she realized how precious it was to share creativity with him. It wasn't just about her anymore. As the days rolled on, stepping into the painting class felt like preparing for a first date with something long lost. Would the other students judge her? Would she fit in with their talent? Doubts snaked into her mind like weeds but were quickly drowned by her kids' laughter and encouragement. Finally, the evening came. She stood in front of the studio, her heart thumping in her chest. The soothing aroma of paint and turpentine wafted through the door. Just a few feet away, a group of cheerful faces chatted excitedly. With one last inhale, she pushed the door open. The studio was alive with the sound of brushes swishing and canvases squeaking. She was greeted warmly by the instructor, a woman whose smile radiated positivity. The more she met the group of fellow artists, the more the tension in her shoulders melted away. They gathered in a circle, their stories woven together like the colors on a palette. Some came for therapy, others to explore their creativity. Every voice held a piece of a shared experience. Lily felt an awakening deep within. She was not alone in her journey. As they began their first exercise, the paint felt liberating, slipping through her fingers like watercolors set free. With each stroke, excitement bubbled inside her. Who knew expressing herself could be so refreshing? The chaos of her routine faded into a blissful hum, each color resonating with a piece of her soul. But as she painted, a question lingered: was this the beginning of a new chapter, or a mere extension of her current life? The lines felt blurred, and guilt crept in once more. Could she maintain this newfound space for herself alongside the duties of motherhood? Later that night, as she tucked Max and Sophie into bed, an urge to share her experience bubbled up. She recounted the day to them, her words flowing with exuberance as their eyes lit up with joy. For the first time, she could see the impact of her decisions in their tiny, eager faces. Just as she closed the door to their room, exhaustion washed over her. There was so much to juggle now, and the fear of losing balance sent a pang through her chest. Was she being unfair to herself by wanting this? With a sigh of resignation, she slumped onto the sofa, staring at her messy palette of paints. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, juggling her artwork, the kids' needs, her job. But a flicker of hope ignited within her. Maybe I could do this, she whispered to herself. And just like that, the thoughts swirled, questions blooming like the colors she'd used on her canvas. What if she could not only find herself but inspire her children to do the same? Would they, too, learn the beauty of embracing their own passions? The night grew still, but her heart flickered with possibilities. As she felt herself drifting off, a nagging thought clung to her mind. What would tomorrow bring? And could one evening of joy be the first step toward a lifetime of colorful adventures? The next morning, rays of sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, brushing Lily's face like a gentle reminder of new beginnings. Still half asleep, she brewed her coffee, cradling the warm cup in her hands. The aroma filled her senses, wrapping around her like a hug. She took a moment to breathe, letting the excitement of yesterday's class wash over her again. Max and Sophie burst into the room, their laughter chasing away any remnants of sleep. "Mommy, can we paint again today?" Max's request ignited a spark of joy. Lily smiled, her heart swelling at the anticipation of sharing more creative moments with her children. "Absolutely, but how about we take a trip to the art store first? We can pick out some new supplies." Their eyes widened, bubbling over with glee. In her own small way, Lily was creating a new ritual, one filled with laughter, creativity, and color. It reminded her of the stories she shared with them, bringing a familiar warmth to the mornings. During breakfast, she noticed Max deep in thought, an unusual seriousness painting his little features. "What's on your mind, buddy?" she asked, gently brushing his hair back. "I want to paint a monster too, but a friendly one, like the ones in your class," he said, confidence wavering. Lily's heart swelled. "I think that's a brilliant idea. Just like I found my colors, you can find yours too." Encouraging him felt like giving him permission to explore not just within the confines of art but in life. After breakfast, they all piled into the car, anticipation bubbling in the air like the fizzy lemonade they loved. The art store was a treasure trove. Paints lined the shelves, glittering like jewels. Max's excitement was contagious as he picked out every bright color he could reach, while Sophie clung to a canvas her size. Back at home, the dining table transformed into a vibrant art station. They squeezed paint onto palettes, their laughter filling the space as they swirled colors together. "What's this, Max?" Lily asked playfully, watching him dip his brush into sky blue. "I'm making my friendly monster. He's going to be massive," he announced, eyes shining. In that moment, Lily couldn't help but feel a twinge of hope. Could moments like this help her navigate the challenges ahead? Could art be more than just a passion, but a bridge connecting her world as a mother with her emerging creative self? As they painted side by side, with smudges of color mixing not only on the canvases but across their cheeks, Lily's laughter bubbled up, transforming the chaotic kitchen into a joyful haven. But with each brushstroke, the nagging question of balance replayed in her mind. How would she find time to paint, to pursue her art, and still focus on her children's needs? The idea of abandoning her canvas for responsibilities began to settle heavily upon her heart again. Later that evening, while Max and Sophie rested, Lily retreated to her studio space. Nervous yet determined, she stood before her new blank canvas, taking a deep breath. Could she merge both worlds into something beautiful? She dipped her brush into a mix of colors, letting her feelings and fears spill out onto the canvas. Each stroke felt like a small rebellion against the doubts that sought to trap her. As she painted, she felt freer than ever. The chaos of the day transformed into vibrant strokes of colors, reflections of her life weaving together motherhood, aspirations, fears. A wave of calm washed over her, but just as she lost herself in the moment, the brush paused. What if she finally let go of the guilt? What if she found a way to weave her passion into their lives, rather than pulling away from it? The paint dripped, and she realized she wasn't just painting a picture, she was painting a future for all of them. The urge to explore rose within her fiercely, yet with it was another looming thought. What if there were bigger challenges waiting at the horizon? Would she be able to face them? She touched the canvas one last time before stepping back. A revelation hovered in the air. Something deeper was starting to stir within her, a transformation she hadn't fully understood yet. That night, as she drifted off to sleep, the question lingered. Could the colors on her canvas lead to a deeper understanding about life, love, and creativity? And would her family embrace this journey with her? The next morning dawned with a crispness that made the world outside feel freshly painted. The flowers in the garden blinked awake, stretching their petals toward the sun. Lily stood in the kitchen, pouring herself another cup of coffee, the steam swirling like the creative thoughts racing through her mind. Sitting at the table, looking over their half-finished artwork, Lily felt a rush of excitement. Today was not just about painting, it was about allowing herself to dream, to weave her art more deeply into the fabric of their lives. Max and Sophie, still groggy, stumbled into the kitchen. "Can we finish our monsters today?" Max asked, his voice thick with sleep but brimming with hope. "Of course. How about we set up a gallery after?" Lily suggested, her voice brightening the room. The thought sparked joy in her heart. "Yeah. We can invite Dad to see." Sophie chimed in, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Their breakfast was filled with giggles and half-chewed bites, the table scattered with more paint splatters than food scraps. In that moment, their little kitchen felt like a vibrant studio, where creativity flourished among the occasional chaos of spilled milk and sticky fingers. After breakfast, they headed back to their art station, armed with bright colors and determination. As they painted, Lily noticed how each brushstroke seemed infused with love, laughter, and the many emotions they shared. She took a step back, watching Max mix colors with the same fervor she felt when creating. "Look, Mom!" he shouted, holding up his canvas. "Here's my monster, and he's giving hugs." Lily's heart melted. "He looks fantastic. I can almost feel his warm, fuzzy hugs from here." They cheered, and in that moment, she could see them all becoming not just artists, but storytellers. The gallery would be their own little world, where feelings would take the form of color and shape. As the afternoon slipped away, the reality of her aspirations fluttered in the back of her mind. The same questions haunted her. Would she have enough time for herself after school, playdates, and dinner? Could she really balance motherhood and her passion, or would she end up sacrificing one for the other? Suddenly, Max broke her reverie. "Mom, do you think if I paint every day, I can be an artist like you?" A lump formed in Lily's throat. "Yes, my love. If you keep painting, you can be anything you want to be." Those words clung to her. They weren't just for Max, they were for her too. Perhaps this journey wasn't solely about them discovering art but about breaking the barriers she had placed on herself. That evening, as the daylight faded and stars peeked through the soft darkness, she returned to her studio. It felt like home. Armed with determination, she grabbed her brush once more, diving into the canvas, letting her heart speak through every stroke. Images swirled, ideas blossomed, fear faded. But then, as she stepped back for a moment of reflection, the weight of uncertainty pressed down harder than ever. What if this wasn't just about finding time for art? What if she uncovered something deeper, something that would change everything she believed? For the first time in a long time, joy and apprehension danced within her. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. As she looked at her emerging masterpiece, a charge of energy flooded her. What lay ahead would not just be the pursuit of her art but the unveiling of who she was becoming. In that exhilarating moment, her heart surged with a single question that sent her thoughts spinning. What more could she discover about herself as she ventured down this path? And what if the fear she held close was the very thing she needed to break free from? With renewed determination, Lily set to work, ready to face the evolving journey ahead. The following day, the sun spilled golden light through the kitchen window, illuminating the remnants of yesterday's art session. Dried paint smudges on the table now seemed like badges of honor. Lily could feel that their little world was shifting, growing bigger than just a fleeting moment in time. Max and Sophie were already buzzing with excitement, their imaginations ignited from the day before. "Can we make a big mural this time?" Sophie suggested, her voice full of possibility. Lily put down her coffee and leaned forward. "What if we use the whole wall? We could create our own little sea of monsters that hug." The thought sent a thrill up her spine. "Yeah. And they could swim in the lake of love." Max jumped in, his eyes wide with enthusiasm. With their ideas sparking like fireflies, they plotted out how to transform their art space. Together, they grabbed brushes, rolls of tape, and a host of vibrant colors, their laughter filling every corner as they prepped for their first big collaboration. The energy was infectious, each child acting as a brush to paint joy into their surroundings. As they began to cover the wall with drawings, something beautiful unfolded. Lily felt herself loosen her grip on perfection. She encouraged them to paint wildly, without caution. The wall bristled with life as colors collided and shapes morphed into creatures. Laughter rang out, echoing the freedom they all felt. But amidst the joy, a voice in Lily whispered doubts. She was allowing herself to play, yet moments of hesitance crawled in like gray clouds threatening to block the sun. The idea of the gallery lingered in her mind. Was this just a game? A childish fantasy? Or was it a deeper truth waiting to be unlocked? "Mom, look!" Sophie squealed, drawing Lily's attention back. Sophie had splashed bright greens and pinks to form a creature that seemed to leap off the wall. It was so full of innocence and glee that it took Lily's breath away. "This is the happiest monster in the world." Lily smiled, a fierce warmth filling her. "He is perfect, Sophie. I can feel his happiness." Having her children believe in the magic of art made her realize that perhaps they were all creatures of bliss, unearthing joy that lay dormant just beneath the surface. As the mural took shape, they paused to assess their creation. Lily stared at the colorful chaos before them, a wave of pride crashing over her. Each brushstroke now told a story of family, of connection, of the determination to carve their paths together. But doubt pricked at her heart. What if this endeavor faltered? What if life clashed against their artistic aspirations? The struggle between the dreamer and the nurturer roared within her, unyielding and restless. Later that evening, as they cleaned up, thoughts flickered in and out of her mind. Could they sustain this? Would this piece of art echo her heart's deepest desires, or fade like a forgotten tale? She saw Max carefully packing away his supplies, a sense of purpose radiating from him. "Mom?" he said softly, glancing at her. "Will you always paint with us?" The emotion hit hard. "I will, forever," she replied, voice thick with love. Maybe this was their canvas, not just for colors but for dreams, for redefining who they were. As the day blended into night, Lily turned to her unfinished mural with the hope amplifying in her heart. What if this was the turning point? She needed a chance to show her kids how to chase dreams with all the colors available to them. With a flick of her brush, she leaned in closer, ready to dive deeper into the journey that lay ahead. In that moment, a new question brewed inside her. If their art could paint the walls of their dreams, how far could it take them, and just how much creativity could flourish when love was the foundation? The next morning brought with it a soft drizzle, the kind that made the world look fresh and new. Lily glanced outside, droplets dancing on the window, each one a tiny pearl. She felt inspired, as if the weather itself encouraged her to create something extraordinary today. "Can we finish the mural?" Sophie asked, tugging at her sleeve, her eyes shining like the sun peeking through the clouds. "Absolutely," Lily replied, her heart lit with determination. Together, they moved toward the back room, where their wall awaited its full transformation. Max was already strategizing his next move, drawing a sketch of a monstrous creature that seemed ready to leap from the page. "Mom, I want to make a fishing pond for the monsters," he said, looking up expectantly. "Can you help me with the watercolor?" "Of course. Let us mix up a beautiful turquoise," she said, gathering paints and brushes, her heart swelling with pride. In moments like these, doubt faded like the fog outside. It felt right, they were all where they needed to be. As they painted together, the relationship between them deepened. Each color was a conversation, a splash of laughter, a smudge of a shared story. Lily dipped her brush into the vibrant hues, blending them into the wall, pouring not just paint but her love into every stroke. "Look, Mom. This monster is going to dance," Sophie exclaimed, playfully moving her brush as if it was a dancer's twirl. "Make it twirl higher," Lily cheered, lifting her own brush to join in the fun. They lost themselves in the moment, surrounded by a whirl of colors and giggles, the rest of the world slowly fading away. But as the mural neared completion, Lily felt a twinge of anxiety creeping back. The art gallery loomed large in her mind, a phantom that haunted her with every brushstroke. She was caught between the worlds of a nurturing mother and a budding artist. "What if our mural isn't good enough?" she whispered to herself, nearly forgetting the warmth radiating from her kids. Max turned suddenly, as if he heard her thoughts. "Mom? Does this look good?" He held up his brush, a bit unsure. The carefree child was suddenly burdened with a hint of self-doubt. "It looks fantastic, buddy. I love how it shines with your spirit," Lily said, pulling him in for a hug, her heart breaking for that flicker of doubt she saw in him. What she realized then was that her worry wasn't just her own. It seeped into him too. She took a deep breath, drawing them both in closer. "Let us promise each other, no matter what happens, our monsters will always be the happiest, huggiest creatures in the world, okay?" At that, they both nodded, eyes gleaming with a renewed spirit. Together they shouted, "The happiest monsters!" Like a spell binding them together, Sophie added vibrant flowers around their creatures, and soon the mural became a flourishing celebration of love, creativity, and voices lifted high in joy. Standing back to admire their work, Lily felt a shift within her. The colors sang with their collective happiness, painting over the whispers of doubt. She was beginning to see that perhaps this was more than just art. It was a message, a heartwarming story unfolding in layers upon the wall. But the question remained. Was this just a beginning, or was it an invitation to explore even deeper dreams? As they stood in awe of their creation, a gentle breeze fluttered through the open window. It carried away her doubts, leaving behind a stirring sense of purpose, a question waiting to be answered. What if this was merely the first mural of many, shaping not just their home but the very essence of their lives together? In the days that followed, the mural became the heartbeat of their home. Colors danced on the wall like laughter, a passionate testament to Lily's newfound spirit. As her family celebrated their creation, each brushstroke reminded her of their shared joy, a vibrant reminder of what it meant to dream together. On white canvases, worries slipped away like past shadows. They spent rainy afternoons in artistic rapture, mixing their imaginations into swirls of paint. Lily found herself losing track of time, pulled into a world where colors were the dialogue of their bond, and her worries faded, drowned out by the giggles that filled the air. Her spirit thrived, untethered by expectations and nourished instead by creativity. Then came the day of the gallery opening. Lookouts were spread between friends, family, and fellow aspiring artists. Lily stood there, nervous energy crackling through her. She had planned every detail meticulously, but standing outside the venue sent her heart racing. What if they didn't like it? Would people judge her? But as the crowd gathered, something shifted. She felt the gentle squeeze of Jake's hand on her shoulder. "You've poured your heart into this. It's more than just your art, it's your story." His words washed over her, a warm tide against her self-doubt. Then it was time. With a deep breath that filled her lungs with the courage she had gathered, Lily led the guests inside. Gasps of surprise erupted as they took in the mural, an explosion of color bursting from the walls, alive with vibrant monsters hugging and dancing in a meadow of dreams, weaving tales of love and laughter. Each visitor stepped closer, drawn in by the energy her children had contributed. "Look at this one," a guest exclaimed, pointing to a blue creature that twirled joyously. "It's not just a mural, it's a celebration of creativity." Tears of joy threatened to spill as compliments filled the air. They saw it not just as paint on a wall but as a reflection of her journey, a canvas echoing her growth, a reminder to break free from the incessant need for validation. She realized they weren't just admiring a mural, they were embracing her, supporting her, weaving deeper connections. As the evening wore on, moments of laughter turned into conversations that flowed like the colors on the wall. People from all walks of life gathered, sharing their stories, their inspirations. In that circle of warmth and acceptance, Lily's heart filled. Each word spoken felt like brush strokes on the canvas of her life, building a rich tapestry of community, one she had yearned for yet fought against. And then the moment she never expected happened. A local art teacher approached her with a proposal, a chance to teach classes to mothers and children about expressing themselves through art, about bridging passions through creativity. "What do you think?" Jake asked, excitement dancing in his eyes. "This could be your chance to inspire other families." Lily stared at the teacher, her heart flipping in her chest. Overwhelmed by a wave of hope, she glanced back at her mural, the smiling monster's testimony not just of who she had been but who she could help others become. For so long, she had pushed art aside for fear or guilt. But now, here was a chance to create a legacy not just of the artwork on her wall but of an entire movement toward self-acceptance, for her children and every other searching soul. "Yes. Yes, I'd love to," she exclaimed, the words bursting forth like the colors she cherished. Joy enveloped her, recognizing that she was not alone anymore. As the evening light dimmed, and the laughter flowed, Lily realized how far she had come. She was no longer just that exhausted single mother who had once felt lost under the weight of judgment. Now, she stood as a vibrant artist, a brave storyteller armed with the wisdom of her own experiences and the newfound joy of creativity permeating her life. Driving home that night, the hum of laughter filled the car, Sophie and Max reliving their favorite moments from the gallery. As they tucked into bed, with sleepy eyes and gentle smiles, Lily pulled the covers tighter around them, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Mom," whispered Max, as he snuggled deeper into his blankets, "do you think our monsters will be happy forever?" Lily smiled, brushing a tender hand through his hair. "As long as we keep embracing our creativity and love, they will be the happiest monsters in the world." In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of her children's love, she knew this was just the beginning of a joyful adventure, a collective journey towards self-discovery, bold dreams, and colorful lives ahead. They were stepping forward fully, hand in hand, emotions painted vividly on canvases waiting to be filled. A new chapter awaited, vibrant and alive, and they were ready to embrace every glorious brushstroke of it together. If this story resonated with you, if you felt the shift toward hope and creativity, now is your time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. The adventure continues, and you need to be a part of it. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, making it possible for stories like this to reach those who need it most. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Let us connect in the comments. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Your time is now.